So about Saturday afternoon every week, I sort of sit down and think, what are we going to eat this week? And in the fall and winter, the answer I come to more and more is pot roast. Pot roast, though, is something that takes quite a while to cook, about 3.5 or 4 hours, but it keeps very well in the fridge or even in the freezer. So I'll typically make it on Saturday or Sunday, and then we'll eat it later in the week. And there are two dishes that we particularly love with pot roast leftovers. One is this beef ragu that we eat with pasta, and another is a shepherd's pie made from leftover pot roast with a thick layer of mashed potatoes, another great family favorite. One basic recipe, a little investment of time, but you get 3 meals out of it. So I'll show you how. So for a pot roast, you need to start with some meat. You can use lots of different cuts of meat for a pot roast. They contain quite a bit of connective tissue and they're fairly tough. So the first thing we should do is season it with lots of salt and pepper. So now we need to brown the meat. Even though it's going to be braised slowly in liquid, it adds beautiful color and flavor to both the meat itself and to the sauce. So over high heat, let's heat about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. This will take at least 10 minutes to thoroughly brown the roast, and it's really important not to rush this. You really want that good dark color and flavor. While the meat is browning, it's the perfect time to prep the vegetables that will form the base of our sauce. And we have mushrooms, a carrot, a stick of celery, some garlic, and an onion. So let's get to work on that. Let's prep our garlic. 2 cloves. I got a question by an email the other day about mushrooms, about whether or not it's okay to wash them or that you need to just brush the dirt off. And the answer is, if you're going to cook the mushrooms, it's fine to wash them. If you're going to eat them raw, though, if you wash them, you'll waterlog them and they'll taste waterlogged. But we're cooking them, so into the sink they went. And now we'll just trim them and cut them in half. So when the roast is fully browned, including the ends, just take it out and put it on a plate and add the vegetables to the pot and the mushrooms. And cook them together for about 10 minutes until the mushrooms have rendered all of their liquid and everything just starts to brown. So when the vegetables are done, first thing we'll add, 1/2 cup of a dry red wine, a cup of chicken broth. You could also use beef stock if you have it on hand. 2 teaspoons of sugar, just a nice little sweetness to the sauce. We're going to add the garlic. We didn't want to cook that with the other vegetables for that long period of time because it would get bitter. A couple of sprigs of thyme, just drop the whole things in there. You can fish out the stems later. And a 14-ounce can of crushed or chopped tomatoes. Stir that up. And then return the meat to the pot. You want the braising liquid to come about halfway up the meat. We need to add a little more liquid here. Water works just fine. And after it comes to the boil, we're going to cover this tightly with aluminum foil and then put the lid on. We want a very tight seal because this is going to go into the oven at 300 degrees for 3.5 to 4 hours. So we'll just take this out of the way because I have another one in the oven. So this has been cooking for about 4 hours. So we'll take our meat out. It's so well cooked, it's almost falling apart. But we're just going to cook this over high heat for about 5 minutes and add 1 sprig of rosemary for flavoring. Rosemary is very intense, so you wouldn't want this braising for 4 hours with a big sprig of rosemary in it. The flavor would be too strong. But this is just perfect to finish the sauce. And then when this is done, we'll fish out the stems for the herbs, cut the string off the meat, and present our dish. So there's our beautiful pot roast. So many choices though. Is it the shepherd's pie, the pot roast, or the ragu? I think I'm in the mood for shepherd's pie today. comforting and delicious. I hope you like it too.